So if everything's in person A's name, then you need to start considering putting things in person B's name. Well, Calvin, what if they don't have the income? They still can build credit. Hello, everyone. This is Calvin Russell, CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about how to build your partner's score when everything is in your name. Let's go ahead and get started. So, as we know, usually when you are building credit, whether as a couple, as brother and sister, or whatever you want to do, anytime, typically this normally happens though when you have, a relationship going on, when there's two people essentially, and they either put things in either of the person's name. When they do things like that, obviously, well, some people may not know this, but when you put too many things in one person's name, it becomes what I like to call like top heavy. Essentially, there's only so much that can be put in an individual's name, as most things are determined by debt to income, and of course, that's going to be your monthly debts divided by how much income that you have coming in on a gross monthly basis. Everyone's going to have a max amount of credit, and that max is going to essentially get reached a lot faster if you guys are putting everything into that one person's name. This could be obviously credit cards, personal loans, auto loans, and of course mortgage loans as well. Now there are different limits for different categories. For example, you may not know this, but of course you can have 10 properties under one social. This is why people end up usually getting building business credit, but that's another subject, of course. But that's essentially how that process would work. What you need to do, what I would suggest, is that when a person has majority of things in their name, there's usually a reason for that. Obviously, there's going to be because they either have the income or they have the credit or they have both, stronger than the other person. But what you want to do is at least start building that credit up, for the other person in the relationship. So if everything's in person A's name, then you need to start considering putting things in person B's name. Well, Calvin, what if they don't have the income? They still can build credit. They still can get credit cards. They still can be added on as an authorized user on credit cards. It could be person A's credit cards that they're authorized users on. You can still get, certain types of other, lines of credit as well too, even without income, as crazy as it sounds. But that's if there's income as an issue. But usually it's credit as the issue as to why people put majority of the items that they need credit wise, in one person's name. But you have to make sure that you're building that person's credit up along the way. And with those items that I just mentioned, as easy as getting a credit card or becoming an authorized user. If you guys still have things you're paying on, you can always refinance and add that person to the next line of credit. So, for example, let's say you got an auto loan, some time ago, and it's in person A's name only. What you could do is refinance that, but this time it's going to be in both people's names, person A and person B. That way, person B can start actually seeing the benefits because I'm sure they're contributing, financially. Even if they're not contributing, I don't want to start anything, but if they're not contributing financially, I'm saying that to say that the bill is getting paid. And if the bill is getting paid every single month, obviously you want people to benefit, from that, as many people as possible, right? Same thing with the mortgage. If they're not on the mortgage, you can always refinance the mortgage and, add them on to it. Adding them to the title does not, it is not going to affect their credit, unfortunately. So they have to be on the loan itself. Obviously, the person has to qualify to be on these things as well, too. So don't rush it. If their scores are under 650, it's probably best that you're not going to put them on these loans because in some cases, a lower score can most definitely affect the interest rate, usually with auto loans. But when you're doing it with like a credit card, a personal loan, even maybe with a personal loan as well. I mean, obviously with a personal loan, that score is going to play a major role in the interest rate. So I would strongly recommend doing it, especially if the score is over 650. And if it's not, it's perfectly fine. Just get that person's score up and follow those same exact procedures. And if you're not sure what to do, don't forget here at 850 Club Credit, we do provide a step-by-step game plan to help you improve your credit score. But you have to start, putting things in both names. names. It doesn't have to be an equal amount either. If one person has the mortgage and the car in their name, then the other person can have credit cards in their name. You just don't want to put everything into one person's name. And then you also have the negative side of things, right? What happens when the relationship goes sour? So now you got to make sure that they got to get the person name off of these things. You can't cut a car in half and give it to people. You can't cut a house in half and give it to people. Those items have to be sold. So just kind of keep those things in mind as well. But anytime there's a couple building their credit together, you most definitely want to make sure that everything is lined up properly. Otherwise, what's going to end up happening is that person is going to hit their credit threshold a lot faster. And that threshold is not a specific number per se. That's usually just based on their debt to income in general. Everyone's number is going to be a little bit different. And we see it all the time, especially in real estate. If a person tries to, buy a home before selling the home that they're currently paying a mortgage on, if their income's not high enough, the bank is going to force them to sell that. Well, not force, but they have to sell that property in order to close on the other property. So, and again, that's simply because everything usually is in that person's name, and it's showing too many debt obligations based on as compared to the actual income. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. You most definitely want to take your time on this and, build both credits at not at the exact same time, because everyone's situation is a little bit different, but don't just put everything in one person's name. You most definitely want to maximize it, regardless if they have a certain amount of income, regardless of how, long they've been building their credit. You just want to have that as an option. Things do happen, and you want to make sure that you're prepared, for the positive and the negative. And the only way to do that is to make sure that both people do have established credit history and credit scores. All right. So of course, if you like this video, like it. If you want to share it, share it. And as always, be sure to subscribe, as we got nothing but great content well on the way. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.